Good morning, everyone. It's Tom Sidney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Sight Club and from the Tom Numbers Show. I just want you to be able to see that, Janine, this wonderful painting. Well, photograph. You see that? So I'm here on Kauai, on the island of Kauai, and it's a lovely place. So I've met some wonderful people that have shown me the island, so I'm very grateful for that. And they have this beautiful photograph, and you can check it out at the Kauai Foundation. There's a website, and anyway, it's a beautiful piece of art, so I wanted to show that. And Rachel's about to join us, so I'm just going to add Rachel. There you go, she in. And Janine, while we're just waiting for Rachel to connect, can you just tell everyone where everyone can find you? Where can they find you?
They can find me on my website, tarotbyjanine.com. Really easy. Also, I'm on lots of different people's shows, so you can just keep an eye on your favorite YouTubers. I might be on there. Your favorite truthers, I might be on their show. And you could also find me on Rumble with Jean-Claude. So the Beyond Mystic Rumble, that's on Thursdays at 4 Eastern. And, and there's also the Beyond Mystic, all the pay-per-views. I'm on there on the regular as well.
Excellent. So tvj.com, the full word tvj.com is where you're at.
Yeah.
Excellent. We can find you. And I don't know if Rachel, are you there yet, Rachel?
Yeah. Can you see me yet?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, yeah. Good.
How are you doing? You all right?
I'm doing good. Just been busy with getting a magazine launched. It's JFK Jr. said it was quote unquote hell to get the first magazine out, and I see what he meant. And he had a lot more people to manage, so it's been interesting. But we'll get there. We're very close.
Good. Any dates on when that's going to be launched?
We're looking at, it was supposed to be this week, and we just had some last minute things pop up. So we're looking at next Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
Next Tuesday, which is November 1st. We didn't want to do it on Monday.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Rachel, I was just saying to Janine, so you'll know anyway, but I'm here in Hawaii, and I'm enjoying my time. I've met some good people, local people here that show me around, and they're part of the Kauai Foundation, and beautiful artwork here, and just a lot of sunlight. So you might see I might be kind of shaded and bright as well, but we wanted to get the sunlight in.
So you're going to have a nice tan here in a couple of weeks, right? Like we're going to see you progressively get darker in your videos because of your tan.
Maybe. This is the ironic thing. So when I left England to come to the US, I thought I had a pretty good tan because I'd been basically on the beach for 4, 5, 6 weeks. And I think it's kind of gradually got less. Although I wasn't too bad when I was staying with you and the family. I thought I was quite brown, but I think it's kind of dwindled because I've not been out in the sun as much, ironically. So it's kind of strange. Yeah. So I'll try and beef up on that again. I wanted to kick the show off. I mentioned this to both of you and Janine. So as I was coming to Kauai just a couple of days ago, I got rerouted from LAX, literally as we were about to take off. This was on October 26th. The pilot said, oh, well, due to military activity along the coastline, we're going to reroute you up towards San Francisco, and then we were going to head west into the ocean over to Hawaii, which is what we did. But I managed to catch a few pieces of video footage from the passenger side of the plane, and I could see two kind of big heavy-duty ships. I saw one a little bit later. And then, which was really cool, I saw two what appeared to be fighter jets. I sent it to Scott McKay as well, and he said one of them was such and such, and then maybe another one you couldn't tell. But then they kind of went in tandem, almost like Top Gun style. And they were there for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Wow.
And I just wanted to see what the cards say about that. You know, what was that? I spoke to Juan as well. He said that quite often before things, get going, they'll make sure that everyone's kind of up to speed, and they'll do kind of practice drills and stuff. I never felt any kind of discomfort up there. It almost seemed like they were kind of flanking and confirming our plane, but that might be a bit too kind of bambocious, or that's not it. I don't know if that's a word, but I just wondered what it was. Just curious what it was, what the card said.
Oh, and by the way, Tom, Scott McKay says hello. because I was just on the phone with him before I got on this. And I said I was just about to jump on a
Oh, excellent.
video with you guys. So he said to say hi to you guys. Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Hey,
Hi from
Scott.
Scott. Yep. Okay. So it's so fun that now we actually have met people in the flesh and could talk about them like the friends they are. It's so much fun.
Exactly. Brilliant.
I wish I could have met you, Rachel. That would have been super.
I know
fun.
the timing just didn't work out, but I saw you got to meet Mark. I watched your video you guys did from the event. That was cool.
Okay. So we're looking at what were those ships you saw?
Yeah, the ships in the water, but also the jets that literally were flanking at the left side of our commercial plane. And they did it for a while. So I saw them and then they kind of got closer. And then, you know, like you see in the movies, you get the kind of two planes kind of, I don't know, signaling or flanking another plane. And obviously the plane I was in was just a commercial aeroplane. Whereas,
Yeah. So whatever they were on a big mission that was secretive and not to be divulged, but it's a big secret mission and it has something to do with the wake up call, waking up the dead here.
Yeah.
Right. And there was a lot of clout to it. So but it's definitely a top secret. And in the next 2 days, I think everybody will know what that was all about.
Wow. Interesting. Wow. That's amazing. The other thing as well about it is, so the word Trump, when you spell it in the numbers, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3 for new listeners. You add up the numerical value of the word Trump, it's, it's 88, which is also the word for California. So I thought that was interesting that I was in California and then we got rerouted and, it's the number 88. The other significant thing about that date, which was kind of ironic, was I showed this to Rachel just before we got on the plane. So everyone knows I'm a big fan movie, particularly the Q movies, which I always talk about, Terminator, Back to the Future, etc., etc. So the first time jump in Back to the Future occurs on the date of October 26th. And that was the date that I was flying out. But if you do the numbers on October 26th, it comes to 265. And the interesting thing about that is the airplane that I got on was an American airline. It was AA, but it was 265. So I thought that was maybe like a little nod from the Universal, the White House, kind of saying, we're, things are coming a long time. I just wondered maybe we could look at that. Was there any significance to them giving me that flight number, or the universe having that flight number, which was exactly the same code as October 26th, which was the value 265 of the plane.
Interesting. It looks like something went down on that date. They strategically had something happen on that date. We might not know about it yet.
Okay.
We've got that page, so we just know a little tip of the iceberg of what happened. So on the 26th, some really big moves happened, it looks like.
Okay. Interesting.
And they are being strategic about when they tell us about it.
Interesting.
Which makes a lot of people really grumpy, I know, but it's like when you're in a big operation to take down something as big as what they're taking down there, I'm thinking it's necessary. I know a lot of people disagree that there should be this much secrecy, but it kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
You both know what today is the 5th anniversary of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first drop 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's dropping anymore, is it? It did for a while and then it stopped, I think. Or
it seems to appear to have started up a few months ago, and I haven't seen anything recently, but there might have been. I haven't been like paying 100% attention to it every day.
I know. I'm curious, Janine, if the cards have anything to say. Like, is it going to come back out and give us more instructions or ask more questions, or is it pretty much up to us now?
The energy that is the 17th letter, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come out of they've been quiet, but there's some big announcement here. that could come in 8. So that could be, so they're just waiting to do it. That could be 8, hours, days, or weeks with swords. And it'll be, it'll set off something that really changes everything. I wonder if that's that announcement we're waiting for.
Yep.
That's interesting, actually, Janine. You're saying 8 because in the film Back to the Future, with October 26th being the first time jump, Marty McFly 136 Great Awakening, he actually time jumps back in time to from 1985 back to 1955, but the date he lands is November 5th, and we've always been told to remember November the 5th. And November the 5th is 176 Back to the Future. November 5th is 143 Ground Zero, Melania Trump, Building 7, Paul Bush and my cousin. But then they jump back in time, back to 1955, come back. But the date, they basically spend a week in the past. So their third time jump is November 12th. But you said about 8. So today is the 28th. So if you do 29, 30, 31, and then plus the 5 days of November, that's 8 days. So I don't know if there's something to that, but it's interesting that the cards are saying 8, whether it's minutes, days, or weeks. So that's interesting.
Or hours. 8
Or
o'clock
hours.
tonight. Yeah. I'm at noon here, but I know you guys are a little different time zone.
Yeah, we're all over the place. I think, I'm usually about 8 hours ahead of you. Well, 7, but now I'm the other way. Well, 4. Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
I wanted to look at, can we look at maybe the history of Hawaii, particularly Kauai, the island here? So this is, I'm having to get very quickly into my geography of Hawaii. So I didn't even really realize what Kauai was until just a couple of weeks ago, but it's the furthest kind of away from the mainland of the US. So it's the large one. Well, there's 4 large ones, islands that is, but it's the furthest one. But they say that was the original one because as more eruptions happened, more islands were created, and it pushed this one further out. But I'm just wondering if the cards have got a message or some intuitive information for us about Kauai, please.
Is that rooster with you, Tom?
Yeah. So that's the other thing that's amazing here on the island. People that have been here will know this. This is my first time, but you literally there's black chickens all over the island. They're probably as common as people, maybe, like everywhere. They're all over the place. So you hear them, you see them, you pull up, you get outside your car, you go into shop, there's a couple just popping around. They're everywhere. So they're just part of the community, these black roosters.
Sounds like you're on a farm in Iowa.
Yeah. Well, there's just so much wildlife and nature here, but the black chickens are definitely kind of the signature animal that's everywhere, all over the island. Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. So we can't really talk a lot about what I'm getting here because we're on YouTube.
Okay.
Something around 12 and unders, humans. So little tiny ones all the way up to age 12 kind of thing.
Okay.
And being in this has been a place where that's some dark hats like to, let's say, take those 12 and unders off the island. So I feel like the original people were very much in demand, let's say, by what I call the dark cult.
Okay.
And a lot of secretive and like exits were created where they could get these 12 and unders out of there in secrecy for their dastardly plans, let's say.
Wow. That's that's obviously a huge shame and interesting historically. Is that, do we feel that that's ended now? Hopefully
that was the outcome. So it looks like that got handled, but they needed to really work hard to get that under control. So that's the Alliance and the White Hats.
Yeah.
and then the strength card. So I feel like they got a real grip on that, but it took time and a lot of work. So it was a big shopping place for elites and dark hats.
I got like chills when you said that, Janine. I don't know, when you were explaining that, I just got, I don't know if that's confirmation or what, but a lot of people are saying they're seeing a lot more synchronicities, whether it's with numbers or just things happening in their lives. I'll share a really quick story. This is a crazy one. Well, two actually. So my daughter, I picked her up from school, and I think Tuesday of this week, she's like, oh, today was John's birthday. We got Oreos. So she's eating her Oreos in the back seat of the car. And then the next day I was picking her up, and a friend had texted me a picture of a George magazine and a picture of John Kennedy Jr. And so I wrote, hello, George. Hello, John. Then I went and picked up my daughter, and then she gets in the car and she goes, today was George's birthday. So the day before it was John's birthday, and then that day was George's birthday. And 20 minutes earlier, I wrote, hello, John. Hello, George.
Wow.
So, and it's ironic that she has a John and a George in her class this year, of all names for, a kid born in 2016, it's kind of weird. So that was one. Then another time I went and got gas, and it was 77.47. Then I get back on the interstate, and the very first car I see is 7747, or, something like that. I'm also seeing a lot of license plates with the exact same numbers, like 557 is on one, and then the other one right next to me is 557. It's happened twice to me in the last probably week. So I'm curious. I know, and I'm not the only one, because I'm seeing online people saying this. Is there something to that? What's the universe trying to tell us? What's God trying to show us with those synchronicities?
This will be good news, I think. End of, so we're at the end of and the beginning. So that's the end of something, but the beginning of, so the end of the hardest part of this situation. It's been going on for the last 3 years. I know the whole situation's been going on for thousands of years, but I think we're at the very end of the movie part where they're playing out what actually already happened. That's been my opinion for quite a while now. I think a lot of the things that they're playing out actually already happened. And we're at the beginning of truth and integrity. So where we get a lot more of the truth, and from both, like maybe not from the bad guys, because they've been, they're being rounded up. But I think truth from the good guys, because that's also been a big smoke and mirrors on that side. And I know it's been necessary, but it's quite frustrating, right? Yeah, because there's a lot of people really disappointed and thought it should have happened already. But as we know, these kind of things take time, right? So right across the bottom, there's all these incredible cards around surprising turnaround in our, I think, financial system, with those two really great financial cards here, abundance and security cards. These two, abundance and security. And this is a surprise. So I think we might hear about, a new money system here. And I've been really feeling that lately, like there's going to be an announcement or some kind of known to the public, because I know a lot of us already feel like we know, but it needs to get out in a more public way, that there's a whole nother money system that's going to replace the Fed, which I think already went down quite a while ago and is just faking it till it makes it. I think it's all a cover up, that it's still even functioning.
Yeah, I know myself and a couple other people that have mailed in their tax checks, and they've not been cashed yet. They haven't been deposited. And it's been for, I think one of them was even last year. So this has been going on for a while now. Whether they're just short on staff, or they're going to use I'm not going to say the word, but the C word, if they're going to use that as an excuse, who knows? But it's just kind of weird that usually the government wants to get those checks deposited right away, and they haven't. So kind of interesting.
That's what I get around that. So it's they're strategizing how to announce that it's completely, this is a finished and onto a whole nother level. Okay, so they want to be strategic when that news comes out. There's reasons why they need to be really strategic about it. And I think it'll come along the same time as when we find out there's already been a lot of justice, shocking even things been gone on in the background around things in secret that have to do with justice. I'll just say it like that. So yeah, there's so many things they have to find the time to actually announce to people, and they have to find a way to do it so it doesn't cause a lot of distress to people that have no idea what's going on.
So speaking of people that have been rounded up, a lot of people will have this question. There's a concert with Katy Perry, and it looked like she was malfunctioning, like one of her eyes stopped working. It was like, did you see that? Did you guys see that?
I did.
I'm just curious, what is she? What's that all about?
So she wasn't anywhere near there. Katy Perry somewhere that isn't where they said she was. So that wasn't her. The whole thing might have been a bit of a smoke and mirrors with this card in the background. So that's gossip and innuendo. In other words, you might have been looking at some kind of a really high-end visual that looks like a 3D visual. So what would that be like? What are those things called? Hologram. You could have been looking at a hologram. That looks like it was a big secret what was really going on. And I think they wanted you to see that. That's a wish card. They wanted you to see that because they want people to go, what's going on there? They want you to notice. They've been putting this stuff out for a long time.
There was a Lady Gaga concert where somebody threw, I think, a shoe up and it hit this screen right in front of her. I saw that video too.
Yeah, so they're not really there. And I saw some visuals of that, what was it? The Rolling Stones, big, huge concert. I mean, they have no right to be running around still performing for people. They're a bunch of old geezers. I can't even believe. Anyway, hilarious. And of course, we know it was a created, I think that was all created, like the whole movement. And Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, even the Beatles was like a bit of a psyop movement to move youth in a certain direction. And there was a whole lot of brainwashing going on. But anyway, I don't think that was real either. That was just, I mean, how it would be easy for them to create that facade because people are sitting so far away. It's all on big film footage anyway. So it would make sense that you're not literally seeing them. And when people do meet them, supposedly in the hotels or whatever, or going through the hotels, that's likely some actors just placed so people could say they actually met them or whatever. They have ways of doing stuff.
It's crazy because when you meet stars, I think I've heard so many people say this. They're like, she didn't look like who I thought. She didn't look the same, or she looked different. So it makes you wonder, not just at this time, but in the past too, how many times they had someone else standing in for the actual people for these meet and greets, for instance.
They just create, I think they create sort of, what's that called? They create the vision of who they are. They create it, and then they send out kind of fakes of it. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but maybe I'm still tired from the tour. But they're creating brands. So they create a brand and they make a lot of money from the brand. And then they have all kinds of people filling in because they're a huge money machine at this point. So and they use technology and all kinds to get these people doing incredible things like working so many days of the year on tour and stuff. I don't believe those people would really do that. If they were making that much money, why would they go on tour like that? Like, give me a break. They'd be tired out.
And we both know that, Janine. We both know that's true. Yeah. How on earth would they do it? You hit upon the point of possible hologram. So Kathy, Mrs. Handy Are You, someone that me and Rachel know, and I don't know if you've seen any of her videos. She does gematria as well. we'll have to get on the show one day. But she said something to me, and I don't necessarily concur with this, but let's have a look at, we're all open to the possibility of this. So President Trump spoke at the weekend, and he looked different because he had, he wasn't wearing a tie, he had the cap. So he might have been one of maybe, 3 or 4 President Trumps that are out there, working for the alliance. And we've done shows on it before. I've always thought there's at least 2, and I think you came up that there's at least 3 to 4 of them. I think 4. Kathy felt that maybe that one that we saw was a hologram. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but let's just have a look and just see, is that the case? Because if she spotted that, kudos to her.
I'm getting there's 3.
3, okay.
3 of them, not 4. 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was one of the 3. One of the 3.
Probably was he the Mar-a-Lago golf President Trump? That's the one he looked like. So that's what he looked like to me.
That could be with that card.
Yeah.
He's definitely been presented in the public eye.
Yeah.
And maybe even one of the thicker ones, so heavier.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And it looks like he was really there, according to my cards.
Okay,
there was representation of a Trump there, but it was one of 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they just want to keep them safe, is what I think.
Yeah, exactly.
That one is very popular, it says, and he's likable.
Yeah.
So it could have been the golf one, because he's pretty likable.
Yeah. I think he's the one that does the public appearances. So one of my friends, Rosa, she got to meet him, and I think that was the golf. I think that was the Mar-a-Lago golf Trump. Yeah, I think that's who it was.
Yeah.
And talking of, actually, one other little question about that event. So something he said, he dropped loads of codes. I was watching that in LA at the weekend, and on a big, beautiful stream, which was lovely. But he specifically, I've never heard him say this before. He talked about 4th-dimensional chess, and he repeated it 2 or 3 times. And we hear in the movement, it's a 5D chess game, sometimes a 4D chess game, but basically a game above kind of this 3D mortality.
Yeah.
But he was making a real point of it. I've never heard him say that, but maybe we could look at that. I don't even know what the question is to ask. I mean, President Trump was basically saying, there's 4-dimensional chess and this is what's going on.
And he stated that he knew what it was. He said, do you know what that is? I know what that is. It's kind of his way of saying, like, yeah, I'm very familiar with 4D chess.
Yeah.
I think he's making a reference to there's a lot going on in secret that we don't know about. So like on other, maybe even literally different planes, because this is 2 playing fields in a way.
Yeah.
So maybe he's literally talking about on other planes or dimensions. There's dimensions. I think there's dimensions to the world. I think what we believe is time travel could just be moving in and out of dimensions. Certain things have happened in one and they haven't happened here yet. So they know about them over here. Yeah. So I'm thinking he was referring to there's a lot more going on than you literally see. And he was making a nod to that and to look beyond what's physical and literal and getting us prepared for that, because we're all going to find out about this stuff soon enough. And a lot of us already are onto it. So it's going to be interesting when just regular folks get their first dip into that kind of what's really been going on.
Yeah. There's you talk about the dimensions and the time travel, Janine, because I believe in time travel, as you know, and I heard you say it the other day. So just the day before I left to come to Hawaii, where I was staying actually happened to be literally down the street from one of the key physical locations in the film Terminator 2. And Terminator 2 is all about time travel and protecting of John Connor. 126. 126 is also 107, interesting enough. But there's a portal. Well, I feel like there's a portal, but let's have a look, see what the cards say. So there's a famous part in Terminator 2 where the baddie, the T-1000, who interestingly enough I think is a goodie, because he was actually the actor Robert Patrick who played the Terminator, not as famous as Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he played the silver guy in the Terminator 2 film, the cop. And he was actually at a Trump event, I think in front of the White House during 2020. President Trump said, "Oh, T-1000, Robert Patrick, we've got him here." You know, so he was thanking him and pointing him out. And he's not a huge actor, so I think he's probably a white hat. But the point is, this truck is chasing John Connor down this wash, this kind of big road sewer through the middle of LA. But I went to the location, and on the map it says Terminator 2 Bridge, because it's like, you know, it's kind of this site that people know about.
Yeah.
But I coded it. I've done a video. I released it last night. There's a video in it. There's probably 15 codes, really solid ones. But one of the conclusions I got with it is they mark out two street names. One of them is Havenhurst AV, and that's on the sewer bridge, and they zoom in on it. And then as the truck comes through, you'll see Plumber. Plumber's someone I know that looks, he used to work with the guy that looks like the T-1000, my buddy Chad. So I think there's a kind of marker on that. But when you add Plumber plus Havenhurst AV, it comes to 184. And 184 actually comes to the value of the fifth dimension or fourth density, which I thought was interesting, considering that we're talking about fourth dimensions. And I guess there's a lot of questions there, but one of probably the main one is that place a portal for other dimensional work? I think they chose it for some reason, because all around there were just loads and loads of codes. Like I said, probably about 15 of them in total.
Wow.
A
Okay.
ley line.
I'm getting you don't get to know that something here.
Okay.
So the deep cover secret, and yeah, there's something going on there, but it's not to be known yet, because I think a lot of people might go there if they knew.
Okay.
And here we've got, certainly has something to do with maybe two different worlds.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of makes sense to what you're saying, but I got a feeling it's not to be known to the public yet, or it couldn't be understood just yet, or because these two cards are putting a big cloak on it here. So I'm going to respect that and just leave it like,
yeah,
I think you're onto it, but I don't think they want to be specific about it right now. They being the universal knowledge, because I believe that whole 17th letter thing is really dialed into spirit world, is working directly with that energy for the humans. I really think that.
I think so.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed with it is the plane. So I'm out there, just me on the phone, trying to remember all the codes, because it was a whole, you know, I can do a lot of codes at once, but there was loads of them. So I wanted to cover. So I've got one phone, you know, reading the codes, zooming in and out, and then there's traffic, and then there's planes. And I was thinking maybe it's a ley line of some description, because planes were going right over it continually. But very interesting seeing what the universe has said or hasn't said yet. So I think it's definitely a focal point of some description. Something that Rachel said I wanted to pick up on, and about the thing with Katy Perry, and you were saying that she was nowhere there, and then you said a few other words. So I've met a lot of famous people back home. Some of them I know, some of them I don't, but I've met quite a lot of them. I want to ask a question about someone that I know a bit more, but I don't want to say their name, if that's all right. So I can just offer the intention with the cards. Is the one that I know now, because I did meet one a while ago, are they different? Because I get a good vibe from the one I know now. I don't know if they're a walk-in, a Pleiadian in disguise or something, but there's something different about them, and they're a little shorter than I remember.
So be more specific about your question.
So the one I know now, I get the feeling that they've been changed in some way. They physically look a little. I just get a very kind of good. So yes,
that's a soft yes. So there's more to it, and we've got this 8 of Swords. So something about suspended. Walk-in would make sense to this, actually. Walk-in would make sense. So it's not like it's not the same physicality, but something's changed about some part of their identity or intelligence. So I wonder if if they had some part of their essence swapped out.
Interesting. That makes
That
sense.
makes any sense? Yeah.
It does, yeah. Because I met them quite a while ago, but I know them more now. But there's just a very kind of nice feeling towards them. Even when you look at their eyes, it's like, well, this person, this being is a good being. But there's some markers like they're a bit shorter than I remember, things like that. So I'm like, maybe something has changed, you know?
Yeah.
Which is interesting what you've just said. I'm going to ask a specific one about this because I don't know this person, but I met them. So Bear Grylls, the adventure guy. Has Bear been swapped in any way? Because I get a similar feeling when I met Bear. You know, there's a kind of light there, but maybe part of it was changed. I don't know. He's obviously very well known and difficult to meet in the first place, but
yes, that's a big yes. Yes,
okay.
yes. Now, this is interesting. I wonder if that person is working for justice on the back end. So I wonder if they joined and they swapped him to keep him safe, and he's joined, maybe working towards bringing some people to justice in his industry. I
think so. That's the kind of feeling I get with him. I felt there was a protection. I felt maybe a slight edge of nervousness, but I felt an intrinsic goodness or a kind of power and a good essence to him. That's what I felt. Mm-hmm. The being I met, that's what I felt. And but then you can see the people he's had to do shows with, you know, maybe not so obviously, well, probably on the dark side. Yeah. So I was like, I wonder if he was part of it, but now what you're saying about the back end, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense from what you've said. Yeah. Rachel?
I've had a question. There was someone posted a picture of Jesse Waters from Fox News, and he was doing the whole like pinky grab, which is what JFK Jr., that's one of his signature, I don't know, poses was. And on inauguration day of the Trumps, there was a bald Secret Service man walking next to them holding his pinky, and a lot of people have speculated that he was JFK Jr. in disguise. So I'm curious if Jesse Waters is one of the covers, if JFK Jr. is still around, which we all tend to think he is, but if he is an actual cover.
They call that guy John Galt, apparently.
In
the movement. I've never heard him say he's John Galt, but people have extrapolated that guy's John Galt, the one you're referring to with the finger.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, that wants to remain a secret. But he's likely played lots of people in this movement, and that's a lot of people but then he plays them for a few and then doesn't. So he doesn't stay in any one sort of disguise. So he could have played Juan at the beginning. He could have played the bald guy. So maybe when he's grabbing the pinky, that's the calm that's who, like that makes sense to me, right? Yeah, he's been out in the pub. That's his way of getting out in the public. He loves to be out in the public. So he moves around through people in the movement, it looks like. And it looks like we're going to know for sure that's going to all come out.
I was thinking about this. He has to have some kind of like a journal. On this day, I was in this city and I was this person, so then people can say like, okay, we need to be able to go back and say, all right, I met Juan on this day. Was he Juan that day? Or, you know what I mean? Like all these different covers that he's had. And there's probably some we don't even know about that are just, random people. But knowing that makes me look at people differently when I go to events. Like, okay, somebody comes up and talks to me. One guy came up and started trashing JFK to me at the Idaho event I went to with you, Tom. And it just felt like a gigantic test. Like, he's like, oh, JFK, if he could just do this. And I was like, whoa, don't be talking trash about JFK to me. I'm like the one you wouldn't want to. And then at the end, he goes, I like you. You stood your ground. I like you. You pushed back. So I'm curious, was that guy, was he just a random dude or was he testing me?
Is this a test?
Was it a test? Because it felt like a test.
Yeah, I think they do test the truthers. I really do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that guy was secretly testing you.
I knew it.
They were trying to find out if you'd talk smack or be easily pushed over into the, like just randomly agreeing with people just because they're saying something. So many people do that.
I know.
Like just to be polite or make polite conversation, or it's just humans need to grow a backbone and more purposefully intentional and stand their ground. And that's exactly what looks like was going on.
I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt it right away. I'm like, you're testing me right now, whoever you are.
Yeah. I felt like they were doing that too when Juan had a little sit down with a bunch of us there in, I think it was Anaheim. There was a sit down after a brunch with Juan, and it was, some people were referring to it as like a military sort of briefing, but it really, if you looked at the situation, the door was open, there was staff walking in and out, nobody's phone was taken, everybody was filming it and recording it. It couldn't have been that top secret.
Right.
And then he went on and told Nino everything he told us not to tell everybody. He went on Nino and told everybody, the whole world, that. So it was a test for truthers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that, Tom? That someone's come up to you and you just feel like, okay, this is definitely a test of some kind?
Yeah, I've had that. And then I've also just kind of bizarre things like, I think they want to know what you're, if you're loyal, and loyalty is a massive thing for me. And as you know, and yeah, I think we've had tests. I think I've had situations in the movement, almost controlled things, where I was shown things that I didn't necessarily know were possible, but then I got the message, I got the memo, and then it was time to say thank you, thanks for the good times, and then move on. And I've had that with a lot of things in regards to this. So I do think they're tests, because sometimes I thought, why are they even bothering down this road? Because they know how I'd react, but maybe I needed to, for some reason I had to exhibit that. Maybe I needed to know that myself, although I felt like I did. Not in all the situations, but some of them. And maybe I just needed to give a visual kind of confirmation to the party doing it, or maybe somehow it'd be shown publicly in some way. I don't know, but definitely has. I've felt there's been a lot of things. And just I think, can you keep a secret? Because I know I can. So it's like, if I need to keep a secret, then that's it. Okay.
Yeah. There was a test. I had a couple of videos, Janine, that glitched. Like totally no explanation for it at all. And I felt like that was a test too. Like, how am I going to handle this stressful situation where what happened was I edited these videos and all of a sudden unedited parts of my video were showing during my premiere. So I was like swearing, because when I mess up, man, sometimes the profanity can come out, right?
Mouth Rachel popped out.
Yeah, Tom's heard it. I think we all can, we all do it, but we try to refrain from it when we're on camera, right?
Yeah.
But it was just like, oh my gosh. I was driving when it was premiering, so I had to pull over and just delete it. And then when I got home and I looked at the actual video in the program, it was fine. So there's no explanation for how it got from my thing to. It was crazy. So I'm curious if you can look and see if that was some kind of a test too, whether it's from, I don't know if they can do that or not, but it certainly felt like, how's she going to deal with this kind of a stressful situation? Because I can tell you it stressed me out. Then it kind of made me laugh, because I was like, well, people know that I swear now sometimes.
Yeah, that looks like a test. Yeah, wake up call test 3. Okay. And also maybe it's okay to just be a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's okay. Like, I just spent time with Mark Atwood, just getting to know him better on that truth tour. And he sure likes to swear it up and on stage, which is awesome. And even saying certain words that start with C that could be really stressful for a lot of people.
He does. He likes that, isn't it?
Yeah, he likes that word. And frankly, it's a powerful word. And frankly, we all got to get over, like, because these guys, like, who told us swearing was bad. And do you know what I mean? Like it's like an expression of emotion that's really raw, and it's real. And if we're all just like, we've been repressed by the bad guys for a really long time and told how to behave, and all of it, we got to scrap it all, start over, and just be real. And so as far as I'm concerned, you were being tested to see how okay you were with showing your truth and all of who you are, and not just try, like we have to stop being these Hollywood people trying to put us on pedestals. We're just humans. We're not perfect. We don't have to have perfect figures or physiques. Like in Hollywood, they literally spend money and lop off parts of themselves and add parts. For all we know, a lot of those Hollywood stars are literally cloned. We don't know. We've been told they were, actually, a lot of them. We don't know really what we're looking at. A lot of CGI. I mean, it's horrifying. And also we've got a whole bunch of people that were born one thing and turned into another thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so it's like, really? So what are we actually looking at? A whole lot of false and facades. And truth or community needs to be actually real humans who do real things and even swear sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. They even had me putting up the middle finger in one video. It was nerve-wracking to do because we've been told we can't do that. Yeah, so it's very interesting what we're all, I think, going to really learn about ourselves. And when we take off the shackles, we've been shackled into a way of being. Yeah, I think you were being tested, Rachel.
Well, I think I passed with flying colors, because it stressed me out, but then I was just laughing. I was like, how did the F-bomb how did this happen? And then I'm like, well, whatever. And I think I only said the F-bomb maybe twice in like a 30-minute period of me taping that. And that's the one that got played. I'm like, seriously, out of all the other swear words, Tom knows some of my creative swear words. It couldn't have been any of those. It was like the actual F-bomb. So,
yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. You only did it twice, so you're fine, right? You didn't do it more. Jay, I just looked at actually, so that part earlier I talked about that portal in Terminator, so I missaid some of the numbers, so I just wanted to correct those. So Havenhurst Avenue is what's 184. But if you add Plummer, which is mentioned, so Havenhurst AV, which you see on the side of the bridge just before the truck comes through, that's 184. If you just do Havenhurst without the AV, that's actually 161, which takes us back to one of the people Rachel met, which is Edward X. Young. And we did a reading on who we think he could have been, talking about Kennedys, etc. But going back to this bridge, Havenhurst AV 184, the fifth dimension or fourth density. Then it shows Plummer's 98, which is Mission. Add those together is 282, which is 88 miles per hour, which is from a different film, Back to the Future. So I was interested that they showed that, and it seems like these films that I get the downloads on may be cross-pollinating at some point, and I can't wait, like everyone else, to see what the outcome of it is. And you mentioned Hollywood a few moments ago, Janine. So just before the morning and the early afternoon before I came and saw you and Mark, and that was a great idea to say, come down. And I wanted to meet you. I was so glad, because I was like, I helped introduce and tell Janine to come on the tour, which you did. But it was just really good. And it was nice to see everyone. It was nice to see Lewis and all the rest of the team and crew. It was just a nice kind of wrapping up in a nice bow. So it was just a lovely event to be at. And Ishmael came along, so shout out to Ishmael. And we saw Kirsten, and it was just really good. It was really good. But anyway, myself and my friend Rosa, just before we came to Anaheim, I wanted to see the Hollywood sign. And I've seen it from a distance before, but I wanted to get closer to it. And also Griffith Park, which is the observatory. It's in La La Land. It's a kind of part in all these movies. But I did the numbers on Griffith Park, and it came to 129, which is Judgment Day. And if Juan has been saying about tomorrow, which is October 29, 1029, if you drop the 0, which he always likes to do, that comes to 129. Ismael Perez comes to 129. Me and Rachel were watching Terminator 2. the E got dropped. It took us to 124. So we thought there was maybe a change in the time continuum. But then we went immediately to Hollywood, and Hollywood sign comes to 129 as well. And I was like, we've got 2 judgment days. And we just kind of felt impelled to go and I didn't know what the numbers were until we did these little clips. So I've been getting 129s a lot, and that maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Do we see any update on what 129 is? Is there significance to one's date tomorrow? I guess we'll find out very soon.
Well, he also said Mr. T was getting arrested on Wednesday, or he thought it would be Wednesday. But when I read on it, it looked like they actually filmed and created a PSYOP situation around the, I won't say the word anymore because too many times you say that word, but anyway, around what they were going to do to Mr. T. And I think sometimes they're saying what's going on in the background and not in the foreground.
Okay.
So like, it's interesting. Like I said, I think we're watching something play out that's already happened. But what exactly am I asking again?
Just is there any update on this date of October 29th, which in some gematria ways you can do 10, 29, one says drop to 0, so that's 129 judgment day. And I just got a couple of big 129s that weekend before I came and saw you guys.
Wow. So it does look like there's a big situation that might have something to do with other dimensionals. And that's something that's been held in secret. So maybe a reveal that we are rubbing shoulders with non-humans, humans, other dimensionals, people that walk in a different sort of energy form than human, something like that, right? Some people call them ETs, like there's all kinds of words. And then here we've got some kind of independence financially, something around the financial market that looks like it spells a disaster for the bankers.
Wow.
Right. That brings us more into alignment with, like it's more for the humans and independence and less for that system. I won't say what you guys know what this card means. That, the dark culty system that we've been dealing with, pillaged by. I feel like something could go down. It looks like that really reveals all of that kind of stuff.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll know very soon.
Mm-hmm.
These days are coming up thick and fast now.
It sure is hard to talk on YouTube. I'm just going to say.
I know.
I'm trying to be really careful.
I have to take off and get on another Zoom, but it was great to see you guys. I'll see you next time. Okay.
So do I.
Thanks,
So do I.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks, hon.
Janine.
Yeah.
Just so me and him did a show about the possibility. Well, he was saying that President Trump would be arrested. And I don't know how much we can say on it, but he then talked about kind of arrest wars. He's saying there's a Trump arrested and there's someone from the other side and back and forth. And he even mentioned kids, like Trump kids. Do we see anything in regards to the Trump kids? And I mentioned that word, that number 282. I'm just wondering, is there anything? Will it just be President Trump, or could it kind of go through different parts of the family as well?
Oh, it looks like it's mainly him.
Okay.
That looks like it's mainly him. And this card in the middle here, I don't think it'll really be a true situation. That it'll be a play out.
Okay.
They're going to play something out, and it'll be to the advantage of the whole situation that's going on. It's like he'll be safe and brought somewhere safe. And he's not really, like, it'll appear to be he's being rounded up by the bad guys, but it's actually just a play out, so they can get him out of the way to do some other things so he doesn't get focused on.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
going back to Hawaii, so you said about the history of that, what's gone on here, and how that's been cleaned up, and it took a long time to do it. I wanted to ask a question a lot further back in time. So someone that we both know, Huna Flash, so he's the one that brought the concept of Lemuria to me, but Mother Earth and this continent of Lemuria. Lemuria is 79, which is mother, and I think nature is 79 as well. So it is actually. A lot of people say that the islands, the volcanic islands of Hawaii, is the center of this larger continent that used to be here, which was Lemuria. That's what I've been told here locally. And I think if I remember rightly with Huna, he might have a different take on it. But I think that's what he's told me before. Is there a connection here to Lemuria and Hawaii? Are they part of the same thing? Is Lemuria a real thing? Will it come back?
Okay, that almost looks like a sister. There's 3 locations, and it could be one of them, and or one of 3 is another way you could. So it might have parts of it might have moved around, if that makes sense. I almost feel like it was broken into 3, and there's 3 different areas that have that carry that energy or magic to it, if that makes any sense. And they're related to each other, so they're like part of a family of 3 areas that could be called Lemuria. So I feel like it's one of 3.
Interesting. And is Lemuria, is it hidden dimensionally? You talked about the timelines can change through, literally you go into time travel, you go into another timeline. Is Lemuria something that exists here, but we don't see it?
Yeah, that would make sense to this card, because this card, something's on hold, or your intellect won't let you see something. So that makes sense. And this is surrender. So we're not maybe using enough of our maybe DNA or intuitive prowess. Some of us are maybe, and some of us aren't, to see it. So certain people maybe could see it and others can't.
Okay, that makes sense. And is there a connection between, people talk about Tartaria. So when you see the ancient architecture, or maybe not too ancient, but maybe a few hundred years ago, you see parts of England, continental Europe and other places where these grand structures, like when you look at it, how on earth did they create those without things like electricity, maybe a couple hundred years ago? So Tartaria is 88 again, which is Trump, which is California. You have to travel 88 miles per hour to time travel. I'm wondering, is Tartaria, is that again dimensionally hidden from us? And does it have a connection to Lemuria and maybe other places? Or is it one of the 3 that you've mentioned?
So a yes on dimensionally hidden.
Okay.
And we've got this. I don't think it's the same, because we would see the 3 of Pentacles if it was one of those 3.
Okay.
But it is a very abundant and lush place, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
A lot of the idea of physical comfort and wealth really existed there. I don't know. And it's a place where everything was available to humans, almost like a heaven on earth. And then it was turned into what we're now like a slave planet. But I feel like it was in the time when things were more like a heavenly earth, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So it's more of a kind of paradisical, heavenly existence. What would have changed that then?
I only got time for one more though, because I got her.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
What would have changed that? Like, so places like Lemuria, places like Tartaria, what changed the whole reality for us to be in this condition now, and we seem like we're maybe going back to that? What changed it? Because that seems like a massive job to change a planet's reality. That doesn't seem like kind of just a little local stuff. That seems massive.
I feel like it's just on hold. So I wonder if it went in a holding pattern for when we're ready for it again. I feel like it's hidden, but when we're ready. So something happened to us, so we couldn't enjoy it anymore, and not the place itself. So it's almost like we might have mentally closed ourselves or hearts off to it, the abundance of it, and moved in a direction. Maybe we were already being brainwashed or something. I feel like we're going to be there again or enjoy those comforts again.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Oh.
That is.
Yeah.
The word November is 94, which comes to third eye. And when you're talking about that, how we kind of, almost from what you're saying, it sounds like maybe as a collective, we shut things off. But maybe that reopening of November, of third eye, perhaps, would reignite, we would re-see it again. That would be cool. That'd be amazing if that's the case.
Cool.
Wow. Well, thanks, Janine. It was awesome to meet you at the weekend.
Yeah, that was super fun.
You're
brilliant. A lot taller than I thought you would be.
There you go. I know, it's amazing when you see everyone's heights,
Yeah.
So, how tall are you?
5'7".
Yeah, I thought you were kind of, as I would imagine. I thought, yeah. So that's cool. Yeah. But it was great. It was great to meet everyone, and it was really cool.
Right
when you and Mark suggested it, I thought, that's a nice, that would work really well, because I wanted to see you. I was like, God. So it worked out perfect. And
awesome.
Again, before you go, tbj.com. So Janine's full name.com is how to find you. Okay.
Right on.
Right. Thanks, Janine. God bless. Speak soon. And who knows, maybe we'll be in a completely different paradigm next time we speak. So,
yeah.
all right.
I visualize it.
Yeah, keep visualizing. Keep doing that. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Janine. God bless. Speak soon.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.